Round about midnight, a whistle wailed, the train rumbled through the town. Before she was gone, I thought I saw tears in her pretty eyes of brown. But I turned around and walked back to Glenville town. I'm a signal man working on a railroad track. I saved a little money, someday I'm gonna get out. I met a pretty girl one Friday night, showed her around the town.
Hi, we're Bill Fadden and the Rhythmbusters. I'm Bill, the singer.
I'm Mark, the drummer.
I'm Rob, the guitar player.
I'm Tony, the stand-up bass, or standing bass.
The band's been going for maybe 6 years, but in the early days we got together. Rob and Mark were in a band called the Rim Shots, and another band called Gene Gambler and the Shufflers, and they wanted to do something new. They got hold of me and asked me to sing for them, and we got the band up and running, started playing some shows, just playing all cover tunes, and went on like that for 2 or 3 years. And then the original bass player Martin left and we got Tony in. I stopped drinking and we got a bit more serious about writing our own songs, making records, and actually coming out and doing some good shows. So it's really only maybe since 2010 when Tony joined that the band's been in this format, and we've been doing what we've been doing. We signed up with Migraine Records about a year after that, German-based label who've been doing loads of really great stuff, and they put out a couple of our singles, and now we're here. Glenville Railroad Tracks, which is the new one now, is the third 7-inch single we've done with Migraine, which has been about one single a year for the last 3 or 4 years. And we also did an album called Screaming End about 2 years ago on a small British label, but it wasn't really promoted. We didn't really get pushed, didn't really take off. So the singles have been the big thing for us. We love doing we can go in the studio, record a couple of tracks, get them over to Olaf, and he'll get them out, and it seems to have a lot more punch than spending a lot of time doing a big album and sort of waiting for it to come out and then doing promotion and trying to sell a lot of copies of a CD. So yeah, three singles so far, and they've all done really well. They're all limited edition, 500 copies only on vinyl, and yeah, they're selling well. We've done with the first 7-inch single we did was our own song called Be Mine on the A side, and a song by a guy called Clyde Pitts who recorded for 4 Star back in the 50s, called The Lonely Side of Town. The second single was Lordy Hoody, which is a Tommy Blake song originally, and we sort of turned it into our own song. It's a song we always end our shows with, and it seemed to be quite popular, so we put it out as a single. And then one of our own songs on the B side, and now with the newest single, both songs are our own. So we're writing a lot more of our own original stuff now. There's a lot of different stuff that goes on. I tend to write a lot of songs about sort of situations to do with relationships and love or broken hearts, things like that, which I don't know if it's an indicator in any way of my own life, but I just we'll get an idea for something, someone will come up with a line or a title, and then we just pull it all together and work it up in a rehearsal room, you know, sort of make sure everything fits. I try and write lyrics that aren't a cliched 50s sort of thing, so it's not, you know, like I'm getting in my caddy and going down to the drive-in and see my girl. I tend to find inspiration from books and films, and I watch a lot of sort of, I suppose, thrillers and horror films, so some of the songs are a little bit dark or a little bit odd, where I'll get some lyrical inspiration from some lines that someone said or something that's written in a book and build it from there.
You tend to put them down on a basic recording,
Yeah,
the band,
yeah.
email it to the band, we listen to it, and then, because Ben is a long way from the rest of us, so he sends them down via email, we have a listen, and then we get together for a rehearsal, and we knock about the ideas musically then, and the song builds that way. It might turn out completely different to what he originally had in mind, but until the
I think they all have.
four of us get together, and then our own influences tend to guide the path of the song.
Because everyone's got their own sort of style of how they play and how they think about stuff, so it does end up coming out as a Rhythmbusters
The magic happens, isn't it?
identity, yeah, if that makes sense. It is broadly rockabilly. We operate as a rockabilly band. The format of what we do, the instruments and the way we present ourselves is as a rockabilly band, but I think broadly we're more of a, I'd say it's more sort of roots and rock and roll really. We draw on a lot of stuff, blues, country, rock and roll, rockabilly, and it's, as I said before really, we're not just a straight down the line rockabilly band. We don't cover the same sort of angles or the same sound. You know, we're very different sound wise and lyrically to people like the Wild Records sort of bands or the European bands that we see. So I think we're kind of hopefully treading our own ground, but it is broadly within a sort of roots and rockabilly genre really.
Right, now Ben's got, we're going to tell you really what it's all about. Well, we three are from the original Rimshots, and we played together since the early 80s.
Yeah, in like 30 years we've been playing together.
We played for people like Matt Curtis and Curtis Gordon and Charlie Feathers and Merrill Moore, and you know we've got all that experience going on for all those years. And one of the reasons we got Ben is because we wanted a new frontman who had something special, and this was the reason for bringing Ben into what this band has become. I think he's one of the best frontmen that I've ever played behind, I must admit. And when you think we played with John Lewis and people like that, you know, and it's, Ben is a little bit special.
Sort of the first, as I was saying, the first 4 years of the band, really we were a bit messy and we didn't have much direction, and I was drinking a lot, the bass player was drinking a lot, and we didn't really get focused. But since we've been working with Olaf and Migraine and everything's sort of settled down, we're playing much more over here, and I want to play even more really over here, because it's a much more satisfying and rewarding experience than a lot of the gigs we play in the UK.
Yeah. We find a lot of the gigs in the UK are, if you get booked for a rocking gig, it's solely rocking people that are there, and in some respects they're very channeled as to what they expect, and when you come over here you get the rocking element, but you also get the normal people element, and it's the mix of all of that that just makes a much better environment, because everybody is very constructive and open-minded, and great to play in front of, you know. It makes such a difference, and you don't see that in England, sadly. It's rock and roll in England is still quite not underground, but sort of
somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's a very marginal
Yeah,
scene.
it's never really, since all those years ago with Shakin' Stevens and Matchbox and, you know, with the charts and what have you, I think it made almost a mockery of it, and it was something that other people just take the mickey out of you, and I'm a rugby rebel and all this. And that stigma is stuck to the genre right up until just recently it's changed, and it is changing, where youngsters are coming in that don't remember the Matchbox thing and what have you. They look on it as a really cool culture to get into, with the clothes and the cars, the style, everything about it. They just think it's great, you know.
Well, there's people, you know, you've got Imelda May, obviously, who's been a big kick, I guess, in Europe as well. Has she? People getting into it, and there seems to be a big crossover now between sort of people who were into punk and psychobilly and heavy metal, getting into the custom culture and cars and bikes and everything, and then arriving at rockabilly from that direction, which gives a good sort of it's just a bit of a injection to the whole thing, lifts it up. I think compared to what goes on in the mainstream and the charts and things like, you know, top 20 music sort of thing, this kind of thing is much more exciting for people. It's much more to sort of get involved with, isn't there?
Oh, it's good live music. It's something you can actually, you don't just listen to it, you can watch it as well. It's got a real vibrancy about it. I think it's great. Yeah. The other thing is very noticeable is in Europe and well, in America as well, but the car culture, all part of it, with the hot rods and that, you know, and that type of thing. In England, the hot rod type thing for many years was a separate entity to the rockabilly thing, and we used to play shows for the hot rodders, and they were playing, all their DJs were playing like the Beach Boys and ZZ Top and things like that, and that's really, they weren't into the rockabilly thing. You come over here and it all goes hand in hand, you know, it's all part of that. We a couple of years ago we got down to the Hangar Festival in Switzerland, and that was just fantastic. You know, the drag stripping on the airfield, and it was just...
That's between the mountains, right?
Yeah. We got one actually coming up, haven't we, in Berlin? But no, not us. No, but that's on.
You could just stop talking.
Yeah, sorry. That's on airstrip. I was on an airstrip as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Headbangers East or something.
Yeah.
Is it called Hot Rod Headbangers East or something like that? I think.
But it's become, it is massively part of our culture.
Yeah.
And in England, I don't think it's not.
Well, you've got the Hot Rod Hayride, and there's a couple of other little bits and pieces where it's coming together.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're talking about this while we've been travelling around, because we've sold out of our album now. That's all finished, and we're coming up with new song ideas all the time. So we want to try and get back in the studio and do another full length album or CD, and sort of try and push that towards mainland Europe. Really, do a lot more over here. With being on the German label Migraine, we've started picking up a few more gigs in Germany and around that sort of area. And obviously we're here in Belgium now. We're going to Holland. France has been very good to us. So we just want to write more original songs and hope people enjoy them and do a lot more shows. We need to do another album because we've sort of finished up the last one. It's sold out, and we've got a lot more material that we've written or we're working on that we want to get recorded and put out again. So the future, I guess, is to keep making records and try and make them original and make them sort of interesting, and hopefully people will buy them, and hopefully we can come back out to Europe regularly and play more shows. So we've got the rest of this tour where we're going to Germany, Holland, Paris and Switzerland, and then we've got the Drive-In Barn coming up in August we're playing, and High Rockabilly in Spain in September. And those are the kinds of things we want to be doing, really, just travelling and making good music, or playing good music even, regardless of whether we've written it or not, and meeting good people, playing with other bands, and trying to just add to the canon of roots rockabilly music, and make some friends along the way.
I paid my heart and a hole in my money hat been. Walk through town trying to remember where I've been. I searched the bars and the cafes and the little laundrette, trying to find a pretty little girl I met.
Lordy Hoody on my brain. Not many left. When they're gone, they're gone. Buy it while you can.
I'll let Tony plug the single, but I just want to say keep it weird, see you later, and I want to say a big thank you to Northwest Barber Company and Ryan in particular, who cuts my hair.
Keep on rocking in Restricted World.
Right, on to business. This is the real deal. This is the big one. This is the third single. We will be getting out an album next year to follow this up, but get out there and play it. Glenville Tracks, take a ride.
Knock, 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 knock.